Oh, greetings. It's been a little while. Um, Instead of doing a monthly wrap up, I thought that I would just talk about the book I'm reading because I've only been reading one book this month. Well, I guess technically two. I DNF'd the Polished Hoe because it just was not my type of book for this month. And instead, I picked up a chunker, 900 and whatever pages, Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. And I'm about halfway through. I'm at 518, page 518. So I just thought that I would pop in and talk about kind of like first impressions, how it's going. There will be some minor spoilers, but just a general, this is what I'm reading, this is how it's going. So I've been pretty sick this week actually, so I got some reading in. My head hurt a lot, so I read a little bit, then I'd rest. A lot of physical pain, so it was pretty intermittent reading. Read for a bit, rest, read, rest. Then I hurt my knee, so I couldn't really walk or get up these stairs. So that turned into more reading. The thing with Pillar of the Earth is that I tried to read it about 10 years ago, and it didn't go very well. I was just not in the right mindset for it. So I thought I'd give it another shot, and I guess you could say it's a historical fiction, but I don't know how historically accurate it is. There are mentions of kings and queens and things like that, but I don't know if they actually existed or not. Which I guess I could just look up now, but should I? Should I not? Nah, whatever. Tell me in the comments, did Queen Maud and King Stephen really exist or not in Britain? I do know that Dover Castle is real because I watched a Netflix thing on it. But you may be wondering, well, what's this book about besides England history? The overarching thing is the building of a cathedral. So the first 3 chapters introduce, I feel like, the main 3 perspectives. We start off with Tom the Builder. He's this real broke family man. He's building a house for someone. He's a stonemason. And William Hamley comes riding in, almost tramples his daughter and says, "Hey, we don't need you anymore." So he's like, "Oh man, what do I do?" So he travels the road, tries to find work. There's also, chapter 2 is from the perspective of a monk named Philip. You can see the cathedral connection here, right? So talks about, his day-to-day, his challenges, things like that. And the third perspective is from William Hamley, which is the guy that came riding on the horse and said to Tom, "We don't need you anymore." So I feel like those are 3 of the main characters so far in the book, and when one character does something, it affects the other 2 somehow. So their lives are very intertwined, and I'm liking it a lot more than I thought I would. I thought, Philip would be the most boring one because he's the monk and, they live a pretty drab life. But he is a little bit of a schemer, and I like that. I like seeing how he uses his environment to his advantage, and it's just really intriguing to me. If you liked all the political scheming and such from Game of Thrones, you may like this book. It has a level of that, but there's way less characters, and so when something happens, you're able to focus in on it a little bit more. The other thing that really stood out to me with this book is how brutal it is, man. Holy. There's like lots of rapes and gory scenes, and just how harsh it is, like the guy comes riding along and says, "Hey, I don't need you anymore," so they have to just pack up their soup bowl and leave. They got a pig with them and that's it. It's like, oh, and people die. It just does not seem like a very fair world to live in, which it wasn't, of course, but when you get a lot of these different examples, it really, drills it home. So I'm trying not to give too many spoilers, of course, but basically I really like how everyone is intertwined with each other. Like, it feels like a small town even though it's spread out over several towns. I like the atmosphere, even though it's very brutal. I feel like it's more believable, accurate, I guess, maybe. I like how the values of each person is quite developed. With the exception of Tom the Builder, I feel like his character is a little bit flat, and William Hamley seems to just be fueled by rage at this point. There's some sub characters that have more development than he does. The development of Philip the monk, I quite like him actually. I didn't think I would, but who knows? There we go. So yeah, that's just kind of a quick rundown of this. And can I just say, I hate it when the author is on the back of the book. Like, you know, I just feel like he's always looking at me. So it's like I have to have my book down like this. When it's like this, I gotta flip him over. I feel like he's looking at me from the corner of his eye or something. So I know it's weird. But yeah, let me know if you've read this book. I think it's part of a trilogy, so if it is, and if you read it, let me know if it's worth it. Please don't tell me any spoilers, even though I feel like I can predict this book, you know. They're trying to build a cathedral, so it probably gets built in the end. I mean, right? But it's the journey, I think, is what this book is about. Not the end result, but the journey. So, I don't know. There might be some big twist coming up, so let me know what you're reading. Let me know if you've read this. And if you loved it, if you hated it, if you thought it was slow, or if you liked the pace. Right now I'm liking it, but you know, 10 years ago I thought it was like, ugh, boring as heck. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and talk again soon.